Hey, it's Lauren from Homestead, and today I wanted to kind of give you a backstory of how we got involved in homesteading. 2016 or so, we kind of got swept into that vegan movement, which was the forks over knives movement, where basically they were saying that if you were eating animal products, you were more likely to develop cancer over the years. So at the time, I just had my two oldest boys. I didn't have my daughter yet. And so my husband came home. He is a chiropractor. So he came home and he was like, I think this is the direction that we should move in. And I kind of wanted to cry. I did cry, actually, because I was like, no, like, can't not eat meat and butter and cheese and all the good things and ice cream. And the thought of trying to make a meal and not have a meat and two sides overwhelmed me tremendously. So, but anyways, we went in that direction. We did pure like vegan, no meat. I had no meat in my diet for about 6 months. And honestly, I felt terrible. I was more bloated than I had ever been in my entire life. My digestion was absolutely horrible. I just like chalked it up to the fact that I needed to get adjusted to this new way of eating. Fast forward. We wound up getting pregnant with our daughter and went on to have her and was so delighted in this beautiful little girl that God had given us. And then around 18 months time, she started to develop like massive cavities. And I remember Ren took a drink of something I had in like a mug and her front tooth chipped. So then I went down the rabbit hole of I have to figure out a way to heal my baby girl's teeth. I had no idea why. My older two, my oldest has had not a single cavity. My second had a few cavities, but not to the extent that Ren did. Her teeth were literally crumbling right before our eyes. And she was also just tiny and having a hard time having her hair grow. Keep in mind at this point, I think we were having some meat in our diet. We were still mostly dairy, like extremely dairy-free, lots and lots and lots of plant products. Yeah, that was what our diet was at the time. We had not delved into the raw milk trend. It sounded disgusting to me at the time. So anyway, so her teeth were crumbling, so I went down the rabbit hole. Of course, I found the Cure Tooth Decay book, which talks about kind of a, what's the guy's name? Weston Price diet, which is rich in like tons of meat, cod liver oil, raw milk, raw cheese. I remember when I picked that book up, I was like, there's no way that I can do this diet. Like, we were plant-based at the time and we're almost religiously so. But anyways, at the time I was like, okay, well, I'll just throw a bunch of supplements at it. I had access to really great supplements. And so I did. I gave her, gosh, she had her routine at that time. She had a probiotic, she had a mouth probiotic, she had vitamin A, which at the time was not the retinol vitamin A, but the beta carotene. She had a vitamin D. Like, I was trying so many things, and her teeth, and even like, of course, the routine, brushing twice a day, doing rinses, being very careful of processed sugars and processed grains, and they were still crumbling. And I went to several different dentists, and I had most of them tell me that it was the nighttime breastfeeding that was causing her cavities, which sent me through the roof, because I was like, there's no way. Breastfeeding has been around for years and years and years. We are just now seeing the extent of this kind of decay in our children, these little tiny babies. So anyways, I did find a local dentist that was willing to work with me and kind of help navigate the pros and cons, because we had this issue. Her teeth at this point were not salvageable. And so we waited and waited and waited. Keep in mind, this was around in 2020 as well, when everything was shut down and there was like heightened, you know, everyone was just freaked out. And so I didn't want to go, the main option that they gave me was to take her to the hospital, have them put her under, and then fix all of her teeth. And I was like, absolutely not, like inside. So we waited and waited. And then when she was 3.5, we finally had them pull teeth, which was terrible. I got to a point where I just felt like hopeless. I didn't know like what to do, or I had tried everything. There had been many nights where I was up trying to research and figure out what was going on. Lots of prayer. She wound up doing great with that procedure. She healed beautifully, praise the Lord. And then I started incorporating raw milk. It was around that time, because I, at that point, was now pregnant with our 4th child, who's now 3.5, our son. And I was starting to do raw milk in his pregnancy. And at first I was like, this is not for me. Like, it just looked too much like when I would pump breast milk and how the fat would separate from the regular milk. Just freaked me out. And then after I had it a second time, my body started to crave it. Well, then I started giving Ren these raw milk smoothies in the morning. And I kid you not, so at this point she had had those teeth pulled, the ones that were just beyond disintegrated. But she had other problem areas in her mouth as well. And so it was at this point I started incorporating more eggs, more raw dairy. And I kid you not when I tell you that raw milk started strengthening her teeth. I have a picture and I'll insert it. It was nuts. It went from a very like translucent, sickly looking tooth to a very strong white tooth. So I was like, so from then on out, you know, we had this trauma that happened to our family, and then we're already now in our house with 2.5 acres, which is not a lot of land, but it's enough. And so we started pursuing getting a milk cow, and that is basically what brought us to homesteading. You know, we started with chickens, and chickens, if you don't know, are like the total gateway homestead animal. Once you get chickens, it's the next thing is, you know, some kind of dairy animal, whether that's a goat. We did get, oh my gosh, I have so much to say about buying a dairy cow. We are blissfully naive, my husband and I, and we just think it'll just work out. And for the most part, that serves us very well. But so we got our cow, who wasn't a dairy cow. She came from a beef herd. She was a heifer, which if you don't know, just means that this was her first time having a calf. So we were just like, she's a cow, we'll train her, it'll be fine. Well, if you have a dairy cow or you've been around livestock, you know that that is laughable. We went through some things, but we figured it out. All that to say, that is what brought us to homesteading, is really, we were trying all these supplements, access to one of the best supplements out there, and they weren't even remotely touching what was going on. It wasn't until we had access to actual food and high quality food that we actually started seeing improvements in all of our children's health, not just Ren, but all of our children's health. So if you're on the fence about homesteading, this lifestyle, it is a lot of work, but it's good work. Like it's like life-giving, hard work, but it's good for you. So, but yeah, that is what brought us to homesteading. Very glad that we're here and we're doing what we're doing. I wish that we hadn't gone through that whole season of trying to figure out her teeth situation, but praise the Lord, like we're at a place where she's doing amazing. She will be having to have some kind of expansion work done because teeth are finicky and they need lots of help when they're pulled that early. But thankfully, she's going to be, the teeth that she has now, her adult teeth, are beautiful and strong and big, and I am fully confident that she's going to be a grown woman with this big beautiful smile and gets to talk about how awful her teeth were as a toddler. So, but if you're in a similar boat and you have a child that is dealing with, like you have a dentist that's telling you it's you're breastfeeding at night, or it's, what else are they telling people? The breastfeeding at night is the thing that bothers me the most, but you know, talking about processed food and sugar, which has an aspect to it, but isn't the whole picture. There's more you can do. So All right, guys, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to my story today. If you want to see more content on homesteading, intentional homemaking, I do love organization and trying to find the best and most efficient way to do things, make sure to subscribe. All right, have a great day.